If you want to get great at an instrument, you need a good practice routine to work at every day so that you can improve over time. Today, I'm going to give you a good practice routine for beginner guitarists. Now, we're going to look at a few different scales and a few different picking patterns with our right hand, and this is going to help improve some fundamental techniques to guitar playing. So the first scale we're going to look at is a chromatic scale starting on our low E note. You can see the scale on the screen in front of you now. I'm going to play that scale and I'm going to do all downstrokes with my right hand. I'm going to do one stroke per beat of the metronome. So it's going to sound like this. 3, 4. Going back down the scale. Okay, so that is your E chromatic scale, and we did it as quarter notes with all downstrokes. Now we're going to go to our eighth notes with an alternating picking pattern. So that means that we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up. And we count that as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're playing twice as often. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down the scale. Okay, so go back, practice that a few times. When you're practicing scales, you want to make sure that you're not just rushing through it and kind of getting through it as quickly as you can, but not really playing the notes, right? You just want to make sure you're taking it nice and slow and making sure that each note is the same volume as well as the same duration. So the same length of each note and the same volume. It doesn't matter if you practice it quietly or loudly. It should all be the same volume throughout the entire scale, and that's going to help you develop what's called your dynamics. Okay, so the next scale we're going to look at is the G major. So we're going to start with G, second finger. Every note that's played on the 5th fret is going to be played with our pinky finger, or the 4th finger, and every note that's on the 3rd fret is going to be played with our ring finger, our 3rd finger, and every note that's on the 2nd fret is going to be played with our 1st finger, our index finger. Okay, so at 70 beats per minute, all downstrokes, this is G major. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down the scale. Okay, good. So if you need to practice that a few times just at the tempo, with that picking pattern, do that until you get all the notes sounding really nice, really even, and really at the same volume. Now we're going to do that same scale, but we're going to go alternate picking patterns, and we're going to do 8th notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so there's your G major scale. If you need to, go back and practice that a couple times. Now the last scale we're going to look at today is the E minor pentatonic. So a bit about the E minor pentatonic. It's a lot of the same notes as G major because it's the relative minor key, and we'll talk more about that in another video. It's called the pentatonic scale because it's made up of 5 notes, so penta, 5. The scale should be up on the screen now. We're going to start at 70 beats per minute, all downstrokes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And going back down the scale. Good. If you need to, go back and practice that a couple times until it's sounding nice and even, all the notes are ringing out clear, and at the same volume. Okay, now we're going to do that with 8th notes, alternate picking pattern. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so there are 3 scales. Now, we're going to get into some fun stuff. We're going to play a 2-bar progression. Starting with the chord G, we're going to play 2 beats. G, then we're going to switch to the chord D, we're going to play 2 beats. And then for the second bar, we're going to play 4 beats of C. Okay, so let's try that together. At 70 beats per minute, 2 beats of G, 2 beats of D, and 4 beats of C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a chord progression that we are going to use the E minor scale to improvise over in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to loop that chord progression, and then I'm going to play random notes in the E minor pentatonic scale over top of it. We're going to see that any notes work, and this is a good way just to get familiar with the scale shape and learn a little bit about improvising, while also practicing the technique that we did in our warm-up with even notes and a nice steady tempo, either quarter notes or we can use 8th notes. So we're mixing it up a bit. Okay, so we'll start with the chords and then I will do some improvising over it to show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start improvising some random notes. Okay, so this time, I'm going to get you to improvise. I'm just going to play the chords. So you're going to be inside this E minor pentatonic shape. You're going to focus on your alternate picking when you're playing 8th notes, and you can just do downstrokes if you just want to play quarter notes. And just explore the scale, see what you like, see what maybe sounds you don't like together, and really just explore. There's no really doing the wrong thing here, but you do want to focus on the techniques that you were working on in your warm-up, okay? So here we go, I'm gonna play the chords and I want you to improvise in E minor pentatonic. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome, so there you have it, a quick routine to practice some beginning scales to. You can practice the chords always along with the section where I was improvising, and you can improvise over the section where I was playing the chords. All right, thanks for tuning in. Happy practicing.